Hey there, guys. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about a knife that I have talked about before. This is the Curtis Knives F3. This is the medium. They do I think they call it a nano, a medium, and a large. Here's a little bit of information. This one's brand spanking new. I'm filming this on December 22nd of 2023, so it's a month old. You can see it's an S45VN, which is a relatively newer steel. Nice zippered padded case. I do like that. Has a little Velcro patch and stuff on there, which is cool. Hook and loop. I don't know if it's the brand name Velcro. Everybody does that. It's Velcro, much like Xerox is a copy machine. Not every copy machine is made by Xerox anymore, but like there's certain terms. Velcro, Xerox, Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand of tissue. Hey, you want a Coke? Doesn't mean do you want a Coca-Cola. Means do you want some sort of a soda pop? Anyway, getting way off track now. This belongs to Alice over at Ali Paracord. You guys know the drill. Link down below. This is their Wharncliffe blade. They do have several blade options. I think these are super cool knives. Just in general, I like the Curtis brand. Now, there have been some quality control concerns that I have heard over the years. A friend of mine, Mike, had terrible problems. He did several videos on it. Sent it in 2-3 times, could never fix it right, and got his money back. While there's been some issues, even throughout that time that Mike was dealing with that, I think the customer service folks were responsive, helpful, and whatnot. Now, granted, you cannot always fix an issue. But I think the way a company handles it is what's important. Can't always make everybody happy. This one, Alice, also sent the tool, which I think is super cool. It's an aluminum tool with a magnet here in the base to help hold your bits. So that's super cool as well. I believe they have these in different colors, and these are an option. You pay extra for these, right? One thing I did find a little interesting is it came with a T6 and a T8 bits, right? These are Torx. Smaller is 6. The number, as it gets bigger, is the higher the number, the bigger the bit. 6 and 8. First off, I don't think any knife maker should ever use a T6 piece of hardware anywhere on their knives. Ever, never. They're too small. The heads strip too easily. The screw thickness themselves break. Like they're just bad juju. Everything should be a T8 or above, in my opinion. Now, what's interesting to me is in this knife, there are no Torx heads. These are all Allens. And they're a little mangled because somebody's used a Torx bit on them, it looks like. And this is a brand new knife. Relatively, it's a month old. I find that interesting. Now, it's a common mistake because we think everybody uses Torx bits. They do not. I have an Almar Knives Mini Sear 2000 that I'm trying to sell if anybody's interested. The hardware itself is a little bit mangled, but I think it came that way from the factory because there's smaller screws and hardware than what's on this knife. Because that one is brand new in the box. Had one owner, shipped it to me, said it was still brand new. I believe him. Everything else he sent that he said was brand new was legit brand new. So I have no reason to question it. And when I looked at that knife under like magnifying glass, yeah, it looks like that hardware was a little mangled during manufacturing. These, I don't know. This came to me from Tri-State EDC, who got it from Alice. I don't know if she bought it brand new. Like, I don't know the history of it. I just know that these are Allens, not Torx. So when you are working on or looking at your knives, please keep that into consideration and don't assume that it's always a T series hardware, Torx series. Something else that's very cool about Curtis knives is there is internal milling. And I'm not going to go through all of the details as you've kind of gathered by now, because I've done this knife before. Not this exact one, but this exact model, like 3 years ago. So I encourage you to go check out that video up in the corner and tell me what you think, because that was 3 years ago. Totally different setup, totally different audio, totally different video. Like, it's probably not the same user experience. Speaking of user experience, the pivot has gotten loose. I could tell as I was just flipping it. And when I did the unboxing, I tightened up the pivot. As you can see, I don't even necessarily need the tool. Just with my thumb, it's now tight and centered. So this one needs some Loctite. Not my job. Not my knife. I don't want to semi-permanently adjust somebody else's knife. Okay? If it were me, I would pop that pivot out all the way. I can show you what that looks like on the inside, because really it's just the head of this pivot that's the big kind of artsy piece. The rest inside is just a small little thread, like just normal stuff. Like, this is all for show. And a lot of pivots are like that. Well, I'm going to just say most all pivots are like this on the inside. They just have different things on the outside. So, which I'm not taking anything away. I think they look very cool. But because they want this to look very cool, you have to have a proprietary tool. You could use a screwdriver and risk mangling up your pivot. And I'm just going to snug this down about where I think it should be. Super rock solid there. Super centered. And the action is really good. So, yes, there you go. That explains the pivot mechanism a little bit. I think the tool's cool. We need the right bits, and it needs a little bit of Loctite, and this thing will be jamming. I like Curtis. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll give you just a couple of quick like size comparisons so you understand where they're at with the Sharpie, with the Spyderco Delica, with the AA and D cell batteries. I think they're cool knives. Just in general, I do like the Curtis lineup. I have owned one. I owned the Curtis Cruise. The Curtis Cruise, and I'll put the playlist up in the corner. You go check it out. Was very narrow handle. I don't even have anything that's similar to show you, but it was super contoured and rounded, and it just shifted in my hand more than I liked, and so that one had to go. But Alice, thanks so much for loaning that in and this in and all the other knives that you have loaned in. I think I have, if I look down in the box, maybe just one more knife of hers to film. There might be two, I don't remember. And then I can get those shipped back, which will be after Christmas, because shipping right now during the Christmas rush isn't ideal. I did just get a knife in yesterday, and that unboxing will be coming out very shortly. Probably come out before this video comes out. But there is another knife that I have bought that we are waiting until after Christmas to ship, just because it's a pretty high ticket, high value item. And even doing UPS overnight early delivery, we chose, myself and the seller, to wait until after Christmas and ship it next week. So there you go. The Curtis F3 Medium, kind of revisit discussion, if you will. So let me know your thoughts and check out the playlist up here in the corner.